He looked as amazing as he always did. He wasn't as buff as Pyrostorm, and his costume wasn't as obscenely tight, but he was still the most handsome extraordinary that Nate had ever seen, even if he couldn't actually see his face, given that it was hidden behind a black mask that covered his entire head, except for his mouth. His costume glittered like a starry sky. And no matter what the haters said, it absolutely did not look like it was sequined. Instead, it was as if he were covered in tiny jewels. Shadowstar had once pulled Nate close, and just when Nate was sure he was about to be kissed for the first time in his life, Shadowstar had turned and run, climbing up the side of a skyscraper quicker than Nate could follow. But he was here now, hanging off the spire across from Nate by one hand, his other hand a fist as it dangled toward the river, hundreds of feet below. Shadows grew around him like they were sentient, thick bands of tentacled darkness that whipped back and forth. Nate wished he knew Shadowstar's secret identity more than anything else.
"Ah," Pyrostorm said, turning to face his greatest nemesis. "I see you got my message, Shadowstar."
"I did," Shadowstar said, his voice a deep rumble that made Nate shiver. "Though I'm sure the city would appreciate if you sent me a text, instead of burning it into the side of the mayor's office."
"Had to make sure I'd get your attention," Pyrostorm said.
"You have it, though I'm not sure you want it." Shadowstar glanced at Nate. "You all right?" Nate nodded. I'm fine. I'll get you down. That'd be nice. I need to talk to you." Nate didn't know if that was good or bad. "Okay." Shadowstar stared intensely at him. Or at least Nate thought he was staring intensely, given that he couldn't actually see Shadowstar's eyes. He wondered if they were blue. He hoped they were, a cerulean blue, like an exotic ocean. They were probably beautiful, and hot, and full of anguish, and pain, at the sight of Nate trapped by Pyrostorm.
"Wow," Pyrostorm said. "You could totally cut the sexual tension out here with a knife. Are you guys soulmates? Because you seem like you're soulmates."
Shadowstar turned away, staring off into the distance, full of quiet angst and strength. "I don't know if I can believe in love. I've been hurt in the past."
Pyrostorm nodded. "Oh, I get that. It sucks, right? But sometimes you have to move on from whatever hurt you in the past, or whoever."
"You don't know what you speak of, villain," Shadowstar said, clenching his fist. "It's not as easy as you think it is. Loving someone, whether they're an extraordinary or not, only brings sorrow." Oh, the quiet power Shadowstar had. Nate's stomach twisted painfully. "It's worth it," he said, "because without love, we have nothing." Shadowstar glanced at him before looking away. "It's not you, Nate. You have to know that. I don't care that you have ADHD, that you think makes your brain all screwy, or that you get terrible migraines. Even when you let your dad down last year with bad grades, I know you tried. You try. You try harder than anyone else I've ever met. It's one of the things He shook his head. "Nate, I have so much to tell you. Things I should have told you long ago. But I'm scared of letting someone in, letting someone get close, to see the man behind the mask." "I see you," Nate said fervently. "All of you, mask or not, which is why I will do what I must to keep you safe." Pyrostorm is distracted, as Shadowstar began his hero's lament, saying that he'd ignored his heart since he'd learned they were made to be broken. Pyrostorm didn't see that Nate had managed to get one of his arms free. He was up really, really high, but he wasn't scared. Nothing scared him. Nate leapt from the bridge spire directly onto Pyrostorm's back. The villain shouted in anger as Nate wrapped his leg around his waist, reaching between them and pulling the cape up and over the villain's head. "And that's why you don't wear a cape, you dick," Nate growled awesomely, like a badass. Pyrostorm cursed as he struggled to find his way out of his cape. Nate tried to hold on as best he could, but Pyrostorm was bigger and stronger. Nate couldn't avoid the elbow that Pyrostorm threw back at him. It struck the side of Nate's face. Nate saw stars. He let go of Pyrostorm and began to fall. "Nate!" Shadowstar screamed. To be continued.